Hey, what's going on? My name is Nazim with NazimConsulting.com, and in this video I'm going to talk about why so many coaches, consultants, and online business owners struggle with dialing in their sales department, and why so many of you go through these cycles of hiring and then completely firing your sales teams, and why it's so hard. Now, the most important thing in your business as an online business owner, a coach, a consultant, is your sales department and how good you are at sales. You can generate all the leads you want, and although at the agency we also do that for clients, but we still recognize the immense importance of the sales teams, and we're also always meticulously tracking the performance, the sales performance of our clients as well. And because really you can have all the leads in the world, but if the sales team is not converting, it doesn't matter. Now, so that's basically the general consensus, is that sales is the most important thing in your business. Now, the way it should be ideally is that you have to first learn sales yourself, and then what you do is you have to delegate it by coaching and training someone to do the sales calls for you. And obviously that person you're going to hire, he or she may possess sales skills, but you still have to teach them the specifics of your audience and your program and how to sell it the best. So that's the second consensus that we have. You first start by learning the sales skills yourself, and then you teach it to someone else. Now the problems start when you start delegating your sales processes and your sales calls really to different people. And basically there's this pattern where you hire these people, and then generally their sales performance is very bad. It's very low and underwhelming, and then what you have to do is you have to fire them, because you thought that now that you dialed in your ads or funnels or whatever, you're getting these leads, you can just take a step back, relax, and your sales team is going to be closing for you. But usually that's so far away from reality, and what happens is that sometimes you even have to step in and do sales calls yourself, because you're spending all this money on ads, you're spending money on different applications and other employees that you have in business, and you need salespeople to generate the cash flow for you, but they're not. So you have to step in and do the sales calls yourself. And when you do that, you start finally closing sales, and now you're sitting and scratching your head why it's so hard for them to close these sales calls, and why can't they just close as well as you. But this whole thing has two problems, and I have a few notes here. I'm going to be going through them in this video. It's going to be a bit longer video, and it has two problems. Problem number one is that when you're hiring sales team, you are hiring by quantity, not quality. And the second problem that you have in business is that you and your sales team commit to long sales call times, 60 minutes or longer, without first properly pre-qualifying people. Now, to expand on these two problems, let me give you an example for one of our clients. She's in the business niche, and this what used to be a pattern that was in her business, and then we switched things up, and now it's awesome. So we generate 20 applications per day on average, and would spend around $100 per application, which is very good in the business niche. And so we'd be spending around $2,000 per day on ads. But what happened was that, and she had 4 salespeople. And what happened was that we'd distribute these 20 applications between 4 salespeople, and that would be 5 applications per person. Now, as you know, with these applications and sales calls, if you have 5 on your calendar, odds are at least 1 or 2 are not going to show up, or they're going to cancel before time. Then what's going to happen is that another 2, 3 are just not going to have the money, or not going to be a good fit for the program. And what would end up is that every salesperson had really 1, maybe 2, maximum 2 proper sales opportunities per day. And this led to 3 big problems. Oh, and again, although you had 4 salespeople, realistically, each one of them was getting only 1, maybe 2 sales opportunities per day, although they'd start their day with 5 calls booked on their calendars. Now, this leads to 3 problems. Number 1 is, again, no matter that, regardless of the fact that they have 5 calls on their calendar, really they get very few opportunities per person. So every salesperson gets very few opportunities. And this leads to a big problem, and that problem is that they can't get their sales momentum up and running. You can't, if you're a salesperson, you understand me. If you're a business owner, you have to understand that for a salesperson to get good at sales and to really get on that emotional momentum path to close more and more and more, salespeople need to get a good amount of opportunities, and 1 or 2 good sales opportunities per day is simply not going to cut it. They need to have way more. They need to have 4, 5, 6, so they can talk to these good leads and gain momentum and confidence and be kind of like on a good streak. And the third problem is that, well, I'm going to actually list 4. The third problem is that the second problem leads to that in every sales team there are rock stars. And what happens is that these rock stars also get 1 or 2 sales opportunities, and usually they're not happy with that. And they just end up leaving your team to go work for someone else. If it has happened to you, now you know the reason. And reason number 4 is that you are managing 4 salespeople. You are managing 4 more people on top of your other employees, like your assistants and marketing consultants, etc., etc. And it's just not enjoyable to manage a lot of people. You want in business, you always want to go for that lean business model, as lean as possible, to get the top bang for your buck. Now, what we did with her was different. Was something different. Is something that some people implement, but still not a lot. I think 95% of coaches, consultants, and online business owners, they're still stuck in this first scenario. What we did was this. We looked at these 4 salespeople and we chose just one really good one who's an absolute rock star, and we put that person aside. Then what we did was that we helped our client hire someone we call a setter. A setter is someone who is on a salary, not commission, just someone who's on a salary, who would every day call up these 20 leads, and that's setter's only job. Call up the leads and really go through the qualifying script, the process that we gave our client, to really figure out if the person, the lead on the phone, can invest 3 things in business: energy, time, and money. And would be very blatantly honest with the amount of money they would be expected to invest in the program if they're a good fit, and also would qualify for the fact that they have the time to start the program if they're qualified, and then also that they're not a lazy slop and they'll do the work, which is the energy part. And when these people would be qualified, and usually out of 20 leads you generate with cold traffic, you'd get maybe 5 people who would say yes to all 3. This ratio might be a bit higher if you do a lot of organic marketing and people are generally more, they know you better, they trust you more. And that's why we also tell clients to do a lot of organic marketing, but generally it's 5 out of 20. And then what would happen is that this one rock star salesperson would have 5 very good sales opportunities on his or her calendar, and they'll just basically close them because, again, like I mentioned in the previous video, because the salesperson, the rock star salesperson, had 5 sales calls, very good opportunities on their calendar, he was able to basically gain that momentum much faster and get on a good streak because there's so many good leads he's talking to, and the more good leads he's talking to, the more confident he is, and generally the more people he enrolls. And again, this scenario has 3 benefits as opposed to the first scenario. Now, the benefits are that, number 1, most importantly, the salesperson, the rockstar salesperson, is always on a good streak because he's talking with great leads that are pre-qualified, and it's very, very discouraging when a salesperson is on a call and invests 60 or 90 minutes of his time, and then at the end of the call, the lead says, I actually don't have the finances. And no one wins in this situation. The salesperson doesn't win, and the prospect doesn't win either because, well, I mean, they're not going to enroll into the program, and It's generally, I mean, it doesn't make sense, this scenario, if there's no continuation of the sales call, because program is where it's at. Program is how the prospects really get to benefit from your services, not the sales call. And so there's one. Number two is you're running a more lean business model. Whereas in this first scenario, you had a whole four salespeople to manage. Now you have only two people to manage, and one of them is not even a salesperson, it's a setter, and it's very easy to manage setters. All they have to do is read the script, and then you have only one salesperson to manage. But guess what? That salesperson is happy because he or she, they're getting enough calls with good leads on their calendars. They have all the good opportunities to themselves, and that's it. So basically, this is how you should structure your sales teams and not the other way around. And if you're having this pattern where you're hiring and firing sales people continuously without any signs of improvement, and every time you think that you hired the right people, and every time you hire this one more person who's been in other businesses and he's done or she's done really well, and then you bring them on board and you think it's going to work out but it still doesn't, this is the problem. It's not the sales people problem per se, but rather the lead processing system and really how you distribute these leads across your sales staff, and how you, most importantly, structure it. So that's really it. And what I told you is basically only the tip of the iceberg, and the scripts for the setter, and really how to properly train salespeople and setters to coexist in one sales ecosystem is a whole different video. I'm not sure if I can even create a video on it because it will be so long, but this is something we provide for our clients as well, on top of the lead generation services. So if you're interested in such services, such as generating leads, but also making sure that we help you structure your business in a better way, this includes hiring the right people, setting up the right sales processes, etc., you're more than welcome to go to nazimconsulting.com or click the link in the description below and schedule a breakthrough call with us, and we'll see if we're a good fit and if we can work together. Thanks for watching this video. In the meantime, you can tag your friends, entrepreneur friends, or ask any more questions, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks. Talk soon. Peace.